Eleanor Harris stands frozen, her heart pounding, as 6 police officers aim their weapons at her, their faces hard under the Georgia dusk. Sweat beads on her temple, catching the fading light. This quiet woman, a former Army officer, never expected her peaceful farm to become a battleground. Yet, when her military dogs, Shadow and Valor, emerge from the shadows, the lead officer's arrogance crumbles into fear, his eyes locked on their tactical vests. How does one woman turn the tables on a corrupt system? Can courage and loyalty expose hidden truths? Drop a like if you've ever faced injustice and wanted to fight back. Subscribe and comment where you're watching from to join this story of resilience. The air grows heavy as the sirens fade, leaving only the rustle of wheat fields in Fairview, Georgia. Eleanor, 55, has built a quiet life here, far from the chaos of her military past in Iraq. Her small farm, bordered by oak groves, is a sanctuary for her and her dogs, Shadow and Valor, trained for combat, loyal beyond measure. But Fairview hasn't always welcomed her. Whispers of prejudice follow her at the market, the bank, the gas station. She's learned to live with it, choosing solitude over conflict. Today, that choice is no longer hers. Eleanor Harris rises before dawn, her boots sinking into the dew-soaked grass of her Fairview farm. The Georgia sky blooms soft pink as she kneels in her vegetable garden. Each careful row, a quiet act of defiance against a world that's never fully welcomed her. At 55, this former Army officer has carved a sanctuary here, far from Iraq's brutal battlefields, where she earned her courage, her scars, and a heart steeled by loss. Shadow and Valor, her military dogs, move like ghosts at her side, their amber eyes sharp with instincts honed for war. They're not pets, they're comrades, trained to track a scent across endless miles, to neutralize a threat with precision that rivals any soldier. Eleanor's hands, steady as they pull weeds, carry the faint tremor of old wounds, memories of gunfire, fallen friends, and the sting of prejudice that followed her home. Fairview offers solitude, but not acceptance. The market vendor's sharp refusals, the bank's relentless scrutiny, the gas station clerk's cold stares. They brand her an outsider, a black woman who dares to stand tall. Her farm is her fortress, its routines a bulwark against the ghosts of her past. She's built walls of isolation, choosing silence over the town's whispered judgments. Yet her sanctuary is more than land. It's a testament to her resilience, a place where she grows her own food, her own peace. Shadow bounds through the golden wheat, his joy a fleeting lightness in her heavy world. Valor scans the oak-lined horizon, ever vigilant, his presence a reminder of battles fought together. Eleanor pauses, her breath catching, the air heavy with a tension she knows from combat. It's the stillness before a storm, the kind that tests the soul. Her sanctuary, built with sweat and stubborn hope, may soon face a threat she can't outrun. Something stirs beyond the trees, and Eleanor, with her dogs at her side, braces for what's to come, her resolve as unyielding as the oaks that guard her land. The stillness of Eleanor Harris's Fairview farm shatters as 3 police cruisers tear down the dirt road, their tires kicking up clouds of dust that swirl in the Georgia morning light. Sirens wail, sharp and intrusive, fading into an uneasy quiet as the vehicles skid to a halt at her garden's edge. Captain Daniel Pierce steps out, his boots heavy on the gravel, his narrow face set in a smirk that doesn't reach his cold gray eyes. His voice cuts through the air, laced with contempt. "Mrs. Harris, we need to have a word." Eleanor rises slowly from her vegetable patch, brushing soil from her hands, her movements deliberate, her expression calm. despite the pulse of adrenaline now surging through her. She's faced worse than this. Desert ambushes, hostile warlords. But there's a different weight to this intrusion, a betrayal on her own soil. 6 officers fan out, their tactical vests stark against their blue uniforms, hands resting on holstered weapons. They form a loose semicircle, blocking any path away from her modest farmhouse. Pierce strides closer, his hand hovering near his gun, and accuses her of suspicious activity on her property. The words are vague, a flimsy excuse Eleanor recognizes from a lifetime of being targeted for her skin. She meets his gaze, her voice steady, honed by years of command. "Good morning, Captain. I'd like to see a warrant before you step further onto my land." Pierce's smirk falters, his eyes narrowing at her defiance. Behind him, his men shift, one kicking over a basket of freshly picked tomatoes, the red fruit splitting on impact. Another snaps a wooden fence post with casual malice. The destruction isn't about evidence. It's a message meant to provoke. Eleanor's heart tightens, but her face remains a mask. She knows this game. Push her until she snaps, then twist her reaction into a reason to escalate. Fairview's police have a reputation, whispered in town. Complaints of excessive force, always against those who look like her, always buried by a system that protects its own. Pierce leans in, his voice low, taunting. "We don't need a warrant when we've got probable cause, Mrs. Harris. Reports of strange folks coming and going at odd hours." Eleanor knows it's a lie. Her only visitors are the local vet and a fellow veteran who brings her coffee every Sunday. This is harassment, plain and cruel, and she feels the old fire of resistance kindling within her. Shadow and Valor wait inside, unseen, their training keeping them still until her signal. She stands her ground, the morning sun warm on her back, and prepares to meet this challenge as she's met every other, with quiet, unyielding strength. Eleanor Harris stands rooted to her Fairview farm, the Georgia sun climbing higher, casting sharp shadows across her garden. Captain Daniel Pierce's smirk burns, his hand hovering near his holster, as he barks at his men to search her property. "Let's see what Mrs. Harris is hiding," he sneers, voice thick with malice. Eleanor's pulse races, but her face remains a calm mask, honed by years commanding troops in Iraq's unforgiving deserts. She knows this isn't about evidence, it's about breaking her spirit on her own land. Her voice cuts through, steady and clear. "I don't consent to a search without a warrant, Captain. You know the law." Pierce laughs, a harsh, grating sound, and signals 2 officers toward her barn. One stomps through her vegetable rows, crushing zucchini with deliberate cruelty. Another yanks open her tool shed, tossing shovels and rakes to the ground, the clatter echoing like gunfire. The destruction is calculated, meant to provoke a reaction they can twist. Eleanor's chest tightens, but she breathes slow, her military training kicking in. Control the moment, assess the threat. She shifts her weight, subtly pressing a button on her watch, signaling Shadow and Valor to hold inside. Those dogs, her comrades through war, are her hidden strength, trained to wait for her command. Pierce steps closer, invading her space, his eyes glinting with contempt. "Military service doesn't make you special here," he hisses, the racial barb cutting deep. Eleanor's anger flares, but her grandfather's words echo. "They want your rage." "Don't give it." She slips her hand into her pocket, activating a recording device, a precaution born from too many run-ins with Fairview's police. The officers' radios crackle, their movements blocking her paths, a tactic she knows from combat. Intimidate, dominate. But Eleanor's faced worse odds. Her eyes track their arrogance, their missteps. Pierce's voice drops, venomous. "Keep pushing. You'll regret it. She meets his gaze, unflinching. I'm not breaking the law, Captain. Her tone carries a battlefield commander's weight. An officer calls from the barn. Nothing here. Pierce's jaw tightens, his plan fraying. Eleanor stands taller, her farm her battleground, shadow and valor her silent promise, ready for what's next. The Georgia sun beats down on Eleanor Harris's Fairview farm, the air thick with the scent of crushed tomatoes and splintered wood. Captain Daniel Pierce's men continue their reckless search, their boots trampling her garden. But Eleanor stands firm, her eyes steady, her military training keeping her anchored. The crackle of police radios cuts through the tense silence, and Pierce's smirk grows sharper, his hand still grazing his holster. Then, a new sound breaks the rhythm, a low rumble of tires on gravel. A white van with the WGTV logo pulls up at the edge of her property, its sudden arrival shifting the mood like a cool breeze. Margaret Lee, a seasoned journalist in her 60s, steps out, her silver hair catching the light, a camera already balanced on her shoulder. Her voice rings clear, confident, cutting through Pierce's authority. Captain Pierce, can you confirm if you have a warrant for this search? The question hangs, sharp and unyielding, and Pierce's face darkens, his control slipping. Margaret moves closer, filming the scene. 6 armed officers surrounding one black woman on her own land. Eleanor's heart lifts, but she keeps her expression neutral, knowing every move matters. Behind Pierce, a young officer, Nathan Carter, shifts uneasily, his name tag glinting in the sun. His eyes dart between his captain and Margaret, his hand twitching toward his phone, as if wrestling with a choice. Eleanor catches the flicker of doubt in his posture, a crack in the wall of blue. Margaret presses on, undeterred by Pierce's glare. Is this standard procedure for Fairview PD, Captain? Harassing a veteran on her private property. Pierce snaps. This is an active investigation. Leave now or face arrest. But Margaret stands her ground, her camera rolling, capturing the officer's aggression and Eleanor's quiet resolve. Nathan's discomfort grows, his fingers brushing his phone again, perhaps sending a message, a small act of defiance against his captain's orders. Eleanor feels a spark of hope, but she doesn't let it show. Her years in combat, teaching her to stay composed under pressure. The sunlight softens, casting long shadows, as if the day itself is pausing to witness this shift. Pierce turns back to Eleanor, his voice low, venomous. You think a news crew changes anything? You're still alone. But Eleanor's eyes meet his, unflinching, her silence a shield. She knows she's not alone, not with Margaret's camera, not with Nathan's quiet rebellion. Shadow and valor remain hidden inside, their presence a secret strength. The balance is tipping, the weight of scrutiny bearing down on Pierce's overreach. Eleanor stands taller, her farm no longer just a target, but a stage where truth might yet prevail, and she braces for the next move in this unfolding battle. Eleanor Harris stands unwavering on her Fairview farm, the Georgia sun glaring as Captain Daniel Pierce's men tear through her barn, their boots grinding her carefully tended soil. Her military training holds her steady, a calm anchor in the storm. Pierce growls, "You're wasting our time, Harris. We'll find what you're hiding." His accusation is hollow, a pretext to justify their intrusion. Then Eleanor's phone vibrates. Her security camera catches an officer slipping a small package into her storage bin, a furtive act meant to frame her. Her heart sinks, the betrayal sharp as a blade, but her face stays neutral, forged in Iraq's dangers. She's seen this before. Plant evidence, ruin the target. Pierce leans in, his voice a venomous whisper. Your army days don't make you untouchable. I heard about that Iraq scandal, Harris. You're no hero. The lie twists her past, a mission where she saved her team from an ambush, only to face rumors spread by jealous rivals. Eleanor's jaw tightens, her grandfather's words steadying her. They want your anger. Don't give it. Margaret Lee's camera captures Pierce's threat, a silent ally. Eleanor's mind races, calculating. 6 officers, 1 wavering, a news crew, and Shadow and Valor hidden inside, awaiting her signal. Clouds dim the light, mirroring the escalating danger. Pierce's men shout, "Nothing in the barn." He points to the shed. "Check there." Eleanor knows their trap, the planted package meant to destroy her. Her voice cuts through, steady and sharp. "You're trespassing, Captain. My cameras see everything." Pierce's eyes flicker with doubt, his glance at her pocket betraying unease. "You're bluffing," he snaps, but his voice wavers. Margaret steps closer, her camera unwavering. "Planting evidence, Captain?" The question hangs, unanswered. Nathan Carter, the young officer, fidgets, his hand near his phone, his loyalty fraying. Eleanor feels the tide turning, but Pierce's desperation grows, a cornered animal ready to strike. Her farm, her sanctuary, is now a battlefield, and she stands ready, her dogs her strength, her resolve forged in war. The truth is close, but the danger sharpens, and Eleanor braces for Pierce's next move to cling to his crumbling power. Eleanor Harris holds her ground on her Fairview farm, the Georgia air thick with tension as Captain Daniel Pierce's men falter, their search yielding nothing but broken fences and trampled crops. Pierce's face twists with frustration, his authority crumbling under the weight of Margaret Lee's rolling camera. Then a new sound cuts through, a low rumble of tires on gravel. An old pickup truck rolls up, and Henry Brooks, a 70-year-old retired judge and Eleanor's neighbor, steps out, his weathered face set with quiet resolve. Clutching a folder of legal documents, he calls out, "Captain Pierce, you're out of line. This is private property." His voice, steady from years on the bench, carries an authority that makes the officers pause. Eleanor's eyes meet Henry's, a flicker of gratitude passing between them. But she keeps her composure, her military training keeping her anchored. Moments later, 2 more trucks arrive. Veterans from the Veteran Shield Network. Their presence a silent show of solidarity. Their weathered faces and squared shoulders speak of battles fought, a brotherhood Eleanor knows well. The tide shifts further as Sheriff Thomas Hayes's cruiser pulls in, lights flashing but sirens off. He strides toward Pierce, his voice firm. "Captain, where's your warrant?" Pierce stammers, caught off guard, his excuses unraveling. Hayes turns to Eleanor, his tone softer. "Mrs. Harris, I'm sorry for this. I got a call about possible misconduct." His glance at Nathan Carter, the young officer hovering uneasily, hints at the source. Eleanor nods, her voice calm but resolute. "Sheriff, I've asked these men to leave. They've destroyed my property and tried to plant evidence." Hayes's eyes darken, sensing the gravity. He orders Pierce and his men to stand down, but Pierce's glare at Eleanor burns with defiance, a promise of retaliation. Henry steps closer, handing Eleanor a document. "File a complaint, Eleanor. We'll back you." The veterans nod, their presence a shield. Margaret's camera captures it all, the sunlight breaking through clouds, casting a warm glow over the scene. Eleanor feels the weight of their support, her isolation cracking, but she remains humble, her strength quiet. Pierce retreats with his men, his power diminished, yet Eleanor knows this isn't over. Her farm, once a solitary refuge, now pulses with the strength of community, and she braces for the fight ahead, her resolve as unyielding as ever. Darkness cloaks Eleanor Harris's Fairview farm, the Georgia night heavy with the hum of crickets. Inside she lies awake, her instincts sharp from years in Iraq. Shadow's low growl rouses her, ears pricked toward the oak grove. Eleanor checks her tablet. Night vision cameras reveal 5 figures creeping toward her house, led by Captain Daniel Pierce, his silhouette unmistakable, a gasoline can in hand. Her heart races, but she moves with practiced calm, activating her sprinkler system. Water sprays, startling the intruders, their formation breaking. With a single word, Eleanor unleashes Shadow and Valor. The dogs, trained for combat, glide through the darkness like phantoms. Shadow disarms Pierce with a precise bite to his wrist, dropping his gun. Valor tackles the man with the gasoline, pinning him without a sound. Pierce's men freeze, their plan unraveling. Headlights flare. Veterans from Veterans Shield and WGTV's news van flood the scene with light, exposing the masked intruders. Nathan Carter's battered car screeches up, the young officer staggering out, face bruised. "They attacked me to silence me," he shouts, voice raw with fear and fury. Eleanor steps onto her porch, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Drop your weapons. Federal agents are en route." The lie, born of battlefield tactics, sows doubt. Pierce hesitates, his wrist bleeding, his men faltering under the glare of cameras. The veterans close in, their military precision a silent threat. Sirens wail in the distance, state police responding to Eleanor's emergency alert. Pierce's operation collapses, his face a mask of rage and defeat. Eleanor stands tall, Shadow and Valor at her side, her farm no longer a target, but a fortress of truth, its defenders unyielding in the face of corruption's desperate strike. Dawn breaks over Eleanor Harris's Fairview farm, the Georgia sky awash in gold, banishing the night's shadows. FBI agents swarm the property, their black SUVs a stark contrast to the wheat fields. Captain Daniel Pierce and his men, now in cuffs, are led away, their faces etched with defiance and defeat. Sheriff Thomas Hayes stands nearby, his expression grim as he oversees the scene. Henry Brooks, the retired judge, approaches Eleanor, his voice steady. "That Iraq scandal was a lie, Eleanor. You saved your team from an ambush. Documents prove it." Her eyes soften, the weight of old rumors lifting, but she remains composed, her humility intact. Eleanor kneels, checking Shadow and Valor for injuries, her hands gentle on their tactical vests. The dogs sit alert, their loyalty a quiet strength. Townsfolk gather at the road's edge, their voices hushed, sharing stories of harassment by Pierce's men. Forced land sales, fabricated charges. Margaret Lee's camera rolls, capturing their resolve. Eleanor rises, her gaze sweeping the crowd, seeing neighbors she once avoided now united. Sheriff Hayes steps forward. "Mrs. Harris, your security footage and Nathan Carter's testimony will bury them. This goes beyond Fairview." Eleanor nods, her voice calm. "It's not just my fight. Others deserve justice too." The sunlight warms her face, a symbol of truth breaking through. Veterans from Veterans Shield stand watch, their presence a promise of protection. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman, seals the shed where Pierce's planted evidence was found, her movements precise. Eleanor's farm, once a solitary refuge, now pulses with community strength. As Pierce's cruiser vanishes down the road, Eleanor feels a quiet resolve. The battle isn't over, but the light of justice has begun to shine, and she stands ready for what lies ahead. Eleanor Harris stands on the Fairview courthouse steps, the Georgia sun warming the crowd, townsfolk, veterans, media, united in purpose. Shadow and Valor sit beside her, their vests gleaming, symbols of unwavering loyalty. Eleanor's voice, humble yet steady, carries across the plaza. Justice isn't just punishment. It's building a community that listens, that stands as one. Her words, shaped by Iraq's trials and Fairview's betrayals, resonate deeply. The crowd nods, some wiping tears, as veterans join hands with neighbors once divided. Margaret Lee's camera captures the moment, proof of truth's power. Sheriff Hayes, now interim chief, vows to rebuild trust with accountability. Nathan Carter, promoted for his courage, stands nearby, his bruises a testament to integrity's cost. Eleanor's attorney details the lawsuit for those targeted by Pierce's scheme, seeking not just compensation, but lasting change. Federal marshals lead Pierce inside, his eyes meeting Eleanor's, defeated, powerless. She holds his gaze, not with triumph, but resolve, her strength born of survival. The crowd's applause surges, hope washing over Fairview. Eleanor kneels, stroking Shadow and Valor, her partners through every storm. What builds a stronger community? The narrator asks. Comment number 1 if unity drives change. Number 2 if time heals divides. Like if you stand for justice, subscribe for stories of courage. Eleanor steps back, her farm now a beacon for those fighting unfair systems. She speaks softly, a promise to keep standing, to keep listening, to build a world where truth endures.